Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Ellis County Commission meeting, Tuesday, August the 11th, 2026. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Bobby, the clerk could please call roll.
Commissioner Nathan Liker,
Here.
Chair Neil Younger.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Okay, order of business. Everything should stay the same. Prior minutes.
On the prior minutes, there is a slight correction to the minutes that I had worked with the clerk on correcting, and it had to do with the overall budget maintaining the same level and not increasing. So she was kind enough to make those corrections, and we got that corrected in the minutes. So it is not, I don't believe it's on the agenda,
Right.
but she does have it corrected in the minutes.
Okay, thank you, Bobby. Thanks, Nate. Consent agenda.
I'll move to approve consent agenda items A through G.
Okay, I'll second that. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. Issues from people not on the? Okay, the monthly financial report.
Everything
Anything?
seems to be in order.
All right, the lot split requested, Shenshin for Justin Craig.
All right, good morning, Commissioners. Justin Craig, Environmental Services Director. On July 30th, Kyle Zimmerman inquired about a possible 1 acre lot split in a transitional agriculturally zoned district. This district requires a 3 acre minimum parcel, 2 if served by public water. I did advise him that I would have to deny the lot split due to the size of the parcel, but did advise him he could appeal that decision to the Ellis County Commission. The proposed split, it's just over 1 acre. He's the one to put a small structure to house, I think, 2 or 3 beef animals for 4-H. The use would be approved on that land use. I don't really have an issue with the size. It just didn't have the authority to approve that. Other thing I would ask is that they would survey it, which he has completed, complete the lot split form, have that recorded with the register of deeds, and then a zoning certificate on the structure prior to construction. Would ask that no septic system be allowed on the parcel just due to the size and according to the environmental code. And should they drill a water well, I believe it could be on public water, but should they drill a water well to just follow the setbacks we have with that if there is any septics out there from the property lines.
Okay. And the reason you couldn't approve it was because of the size of the lot.
Size of the lot, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the location, it seems fine. Just it's already an approved use. Just the size of the lot would be why I would deny it.
Okay.
Any comments, concerns?
I guess I'll ask Kyle, have you got any comments on this?
You want me to go?
Yeah, come on up.
Come on.
So this property is right across from my shop and house there in Shenshin. My daughter's wanting to get more involved in 4-H, and per Shenshin City Code, we're not supposed to have hoofed animals within the city limits. Well, this property is about as close to my house as you could get without being in the city limits. I do understand a restriction for having no septic on that property, down the road. If I would sell that property, well, that's really not an issue, because at that point they could be tied onto city sewer and it could be annexed into the city limits. So down the road, if we ever move or anything like that, that would be a non-issue at that point.
Okay. So we could, more or less, we could put restrictions on there of the no septic and,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, and public water supply is not an issue. We had a city meeting last night and I informed them of my intent and they were fine with me getting city water over to that property.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I just like it because it's, your kids are right across the road. They'll get really tight with them animals and.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll move to approve the proposed substandard parcel size agriculture lot split request, and proposed use. But I'm gonna include there that there is a restriction on septic, going forward on that. So that would be my motion.
Okay, I will second that.
Good. Yep.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Okay, the final 2027 budget, Mr. Darren.
Morning, Commissioners. Darren Myers, County Administrator. Final, kind of one of the final steps of the 2027 budget process is to review where we're at to date. I'll skip past the charts, but everything on there is essentially the same that we've been discussing for the last several commission meetings in the changes that we made. The one change that was from last week to this week was the discussion that came from Access Transportation, where we had the money allocated in the budget stabilization fund, and we just moved it from that line item, not fund, I should say, that line item back into the annual subsidy line item with all the other annual subsidies outside agencies. So did not increase the budget, did not decrease it, just allocated that 50,000 from one spot into another spot. Other than that, everything else is the exact same. And we did have the discussion at the end of the commission's goal to keep the 2027 budget under the 2026 budget. So that kind of takes us back to the top of here with the charts. As you can see, our annual budget, the revenues are just over $700,000 more. That's mainly due to the increase of revenues identified by the sheriff's office for municipal court fees and or holding inmates, as well as additional transfers in for sales tax transfers from those funds into the general fund. So that's not necessarily the property tax side, but those are increased from those other areas. The budgeted dollar amount is just about $80,000 less than we are for this year. So that is a budget cut from next year from this year. However, the mill levy does increase even though our budget decreases. That's due to the valuation of the county. Essentially, the rural part, anything outside of Hayes, Ellis, and Victoria, the valuations decreased overall. But over everything in the entire county, valuations only increased by 0.2%. So when you look at that, when the loss of the revenue and not having the oil depletion fund anymore, because that transfer is reduced, that does change to what the mill levy is, which does exceed the revenue neutral rate, but that's far less than the budget start when we were about almost 41 mills before the commissioners removed that 800 and some $1,000 out of the budget. So moving on then is the fire district. The fire district, as I said before, it values more from the oil and gas in the county than anything. It takes up about 25% of the budgeted revenues. The overall budget dollars increased only by about, I think that's about $1,200 in difference, so essentially flat. But the mill levy did increase because the valuation decreased in the county, essentially. So another math formula on how mill levies are created creates that confusion. Solid waste, their revenues increased due to the continued increase of customers going there. This is a non-property tax fund. It's all revenues all collected from those that use the facility. The budget, out of all of the budgets, has the biggest noticeable increase of about $700,000. But the largest part of that is when more revenue comes in for more people using the landfill, expenses also increase because we have to haul all that waste away. But the biggest piece of that, over $500,000 of that, is the drawdown from the unencumbered balance to do an expansion to the transfer station up there on the north side to allow more room, more storage to separate and haul trash, as well as to purchase and replace a backhoe up there. Then after that, after today, if there's no changes, we kind of move into the final stage. Next week will be the exact same discussion as we're having right now if there are no changes, except for there'll be a motion from the commission to have 2 additional forms that will be on next week's agenda to pass along to the county clerk so she can publish them in the newspaper with proper timing before the September 8th revenue neutral rate and budget hearing. So with that being short and sweet, and like I say, not going through all those bullet points, I can take any questions or if the commission has any final changes before I create the budget summary sheets to be published next week.
I mean, we've gone line by line and we've done extra reductions, so
Yeah.
at this time, I have no more comments or changes to be made.
I'm good with it.
Okay, we'll work on getting the final budget sheets done and it'll be on next week's agenda to publish it. And if something does come up between now and after we publish it, all the way up to when when the commission votes on the budget, you can't increase it, but you can always find something that if you want to decrease the budget, you can decrease it. You just can't go on top of what everything after anything's published. So,
On the publication, is that in the Hayes Daily or is that in a different? No?
Yeah, we have 2 published in the Hayes Daily News because that's that paper for the county.
Okay.
Yes.
I have no changes or
Nothing.
objections to going forward with that.
okay, I'll
Hopefully we
get that the forms done and it'll be on next week's agenda again.
Hopefully we can do it next year the same. Okay, county administrator report?
Nothing.
County commission report?
I have no report today.
Okay. I did make it to the Shenshin meeting last night. That, and then I did go to the City of Hayes workshop meeting, and I ended up making it over to Herzog Fest in the hot box, but their crowd started showing up about 7:38, so they had pretty good turnout. And don't forget, school's starting, so kiddos are going to be running around and scooting around with their scooters, so be careful there. And then the election, Paul, you done a great job. He's got a lot of good poll workers, but it takes a good leader to make those. So thank you for that, Bobby. Okay, and no executive sessions, correct? Okay. All right, we will I got one other thing because I had some calls on some chip seal stuff and I asked Brandon to come and explain it because somebody thought they were getting favoritism with their road done and the other one wasn't. So if he'd explain that, that way our public knows.
Morning, Commissioners. Brendan McKay, Ellis County Public Works Director. So there's multiple seal coat treatments that we do as the county. So the first treatment that is most commonly known is a chip seal. That is where we shoot out a certain grade of oil, emulsion oil, and drop 1/2 inch, 9/16 minus chips into said oil. That oil is not compatible with the scrub seal oil. Scrub seal oil is where you have your oil distributor, you drop out a different grade of oil. It's a much higher dollar one. It's got a higher float to it. And you use brooms behind the distributor to drag it to help fill in cracks better. And then you drop sand on it. Both cost a similar amount of money. The difference is the timing of it. We don't own the broom when we do the scrub seal. We borrow the broom from this emulsion oil supplier. So there's a timing issue with that too, is it has to be available. So sometimes there'll be segments of roadway that are done and the adjoining miles will be done later in the same asphalt season or if they're on the schedule. So in that case, in particular there, that 1 mile there was a chip seal because there was an underlying sand seal. With the sand surfacing, you do not put another sand surfacing on top of it because it will remove all of the traction modifiers or friction modifiers. It'll make it too slick for the public. So that section of 280th that we were called about, that 1 mile had a sand seal, it got a chip seal. The adjoining miles will have a scrub seal with the sand surfacing here later this fall.
Okay.
There's also fog seals, which is just shooting a fine coat of oil to help lock in the aggregate. It does not give as much life as a conventional chip seal or scrub seal. but it is a very low cost item and it paints the road black. But we use that when we have loss of aggregate or severe oxidization of the surface. Does that answer the questions you had?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, adjournment will be at 8:45.
It was a sweet meeting.